Hello.
Hello, round
Hello
two.
again, round two. Yeah, little bonus episode. I thought it would just be good to do it in two, and I knew we would have run over on the first one. So this is a follow-on from the one we've just done, which is the positives of having a spiritual awakening and what comes from it. And then now we're going to talk about the negatives because there are negatives. So we
Yeah,
should,
definitely,
talk about it. So
definitely.
did you want to go first with your?
Yeah, there was quite a few actually. So I sort of jotted a few down because I had 5 minutes to
Yeah.
think. Um, so I think I was kind of starting from the beginning for me, and I think initially the day after the ceremony, I think part of it was like just still it was an overwhelming experience, but
Mhm.
excuse me. I just felt like really, really misunderstood. So when I phoned my husband and then I
Mhm.
phoned my children who are adults, and I was just met with this absolute
Because
almost
they're just not on that.
no, not at all, absolutely not at all. So it was kind of like that I'd say stuff and right, okay. And I remember saying to my
It's like you're
husband,
losing it.
yeah, I was explaining to him about the sick thing. Do you remember about the sick story?
Yeah, yeah. We'll get into it. We've
Quite an
got so
emotional.
many good stories from
Yeah.
the
And
ayahuasca ceremonies.
he was just sort of like putting the
Sorry if you can hear. Sorry, I'm not cutting you off. Sorry if you can hear
sorry,
shouting that my girls are going to bed, and I was like, now remember, if everyone can just keep it down, because Mummy's doing her recording, and they're literally screaming. So sorry if that's.
keeping it real.
Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I'd say something to my husband and he'd say, "Well, do you not think that's just because you were like basically hallucinating or do you not think that was just what's the word? And it was just about everything and it was like, oh, and then I
Yeah.
remember speaking to my son and he was just like,
Are
right,
you okay?
yeah, and then yeah, my daughter was like, I don't know, said something about meant having a breakdown or and I found that actually really hard because I had this like the first people I spoke to back in my life and I'd had this incredible well it wasn't it was a difficult
But it is
experience.
life
You're
changing.
still and you're completely misunderstood by the people that you spend a lot of time with that you live with, and I found that really, really difficult.
Hmm.
And I think going past that, so that was like the first day, and then you kind of get used to that. And then, when you come home and go back to work, etc., you do very much get used to the fact that most people, like, I don't think there's anyone really that I've spoken to that's been, I don't know, most people are, well, we work together, and most people at
Yeah.
our work are like,
Probably.
this
I think they
kid's
think
going
we're
to
a
do
couple of.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what percentage of people, I'm actually going to look it up. What percentage of people are spiritually awakened? I
Mm,
don't know. How do you even calculate that? I don't know, because that is
no.
the thing, isn't it? Like you speak, but then you do speak to the odd person that you think, oh, that you can just tell, can't
Yeah,
you? I was like, oh, they get what I'm on about.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. But and that was one of the reasons. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was the first week that we both went back to work after we'd been away, and I remember us sitting on the grass, and I said to you, I don't know what to do with this experience that I've had. I've had this experience, and I don't know where to take it. I feel like
yeah,
how do you live how do you move on and kind of and I said to you, thank God I've got you because I just don't know who I would speak to about this sort
yeah,
of thing. And that was one of the reasons why this whole thing came up, because I was saying, wouldn't it be great if there was like, people that you could meet and la la la, and I think you said, well, wouldn't it be good if we
yeah.
had a community. And that is how this whole thing started, because we were having a conversation about this negative side of it where you do
And
feel
not having that, not having
lonely.
people you could, yeah, it is. I remember because I went, like we said before, I've said before, but I knew I had to go. And it's not, there'll be loads of people out there that are spiritually awake that haven't gone down the like plant medicine
Yeah,
route.
yeah.
But for me, I got the calling to do it. And then that's how it's all happened. But because I just knew I had to be there, and the first time I went by myself, but yeah, I came back, and again, like, yeah, I mean, there's still, people like my sister, if she's watching this, she's always been almost more spiritual than me, has always had the knowing, as she says.
Mm.
Used to do tarot and stuff when we were out like in nightclubs.
Mm.
giving people
Oh,
readings.
brilliant.
So we've always been quite, we've always thought, but she's someone that I could openly speak to. But,
Yeah.
there's people even now in my family that I don't really, not that they don't get it, but it's just, yeah, I guess that they just don't, you kind of know who you can speak to about and who you can't. And it is lonely. So that is a huge
Yeah.
negativity. But I feel like through doing this, it's just like, well, maybe there'll be more people that, in our lives that kind of see it and then think, oh, and they, that's how it works. But I agree with the community thing, to build something, because there'll be loads of women out there like us, loads and loads and
God, yeah.
loads,
Yeah.
probably doing
It's
it. And I
finding them.
have just looked up. I was like, what percentage? And it said, most spiritual teachers and psychological models agree that the number of deeply awakened, that's us, deeply awakened individuals, not getting there anyway, is under 1% to 10% of the global population, depending on the depth of the awakening. Because it is, I feel like we're fully in it now. I'm like, oh my God. But at the beginning, it's just that kind of start to think, oh, is there something? But even if it was 1%, that's like 1 in 100 people. If you think of just like walking around in town or whatever,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people that are
Yeah.
all just going about their normal lives or trying to,
Yeah.
whilst
Feeling
thinking,
like,
what the hell is going on here?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
It's just interesting.
yeah. So no, I think that would be my main, going back to the very beginning, it was integrating back into society, I guess. You just feel a bit,
Yeah,
like no one gets it and it's just you, which is a
yeah.
horrible feeling.
But we've got each other, which is good.
Yeah, yeah,
And we're going to
exactly.
build this amazing community of
I
people
hope
that,
so. Yeah.
that you could talk openly. That's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, how about you?
So, well, this isn't actually, I don't know why this is at the top of my list, but it's like the food situation. And actually, part of this is positive.
Yeah, I remember
But
this.
I have had and I actually did go into one of the ayahuasca ceremonies with the one I was with you, where I did ask, one of my intentions was like, I find that have my whole life been quite unhealthy with food. When I was a kid, I hated anything with texture. So I didn't eat a lot of sauces. I didn't eat a lot of vegetables. As I've got older, I eat fruit and veg and all of that kind of thing. But I also have that habit to go back to bad foods, just carbs, cheese, whatever. And I definitely feel like I've had a negative relationship with food. So I kind of asked, because the dieta to get ready for the ceremonies, you're obviously just eating really cleanly. And I was like, I just wish, why do I have to keep going back to the bad food? But in the in the period, a couple of weeks after, food really affected me. I felt like I didn't even want to eat. Anytime I thought about stuff, like me and you normally on one of our lunch breaks go and get this jacket potato and cheese. It's like our little jacket potato
Broke
lunches
my heart.
once a week.
Didn't have
And
one.
I could not, for the life of me, I was like, it made me feel physically sick. But the annoying thing is, as time goes on, because these foods are so addictive, like cheese, I don't, through this whole process, the positive is that I've gone back to being vegetarian, which is definitely in my heart to be. I was vegetarian years ago, and then through my pregnancy started eating again, but it never sat right with me. But again, it's then that habit that you can't, it's just what you eat. But I was just like, oh, there was this disconnect. And I've managed to go vegetarian, but I just know I don't want to be eating cheese. How do you give it up? But it really, really shocked my system almost, that it was almost making me feel sick, and it was almost giving me that helping hand. But I've slipped back to my old ways.
Oh, I know.
But,
Yeah, yeah. I was the same. I think the diet helps, doesn't it? And then you come out feeling so, I don't know, grateful that you've got this body and you sort of want to look after it, and you think more about nature and health, but it's a real
difficult
slippery
in this
slope.
world
Oh, so
with a
difficult.
lifetime of habits behind you. And
Yeah,
it's the same with the alcohol, actually. Again,
yeah.
that's something we should do a whole episode actually on alcohol.
Mm,
Because again, not that I have this terrible relationship with it, but it's really shown me that I do kind of use it as a stress type thing that I don't want to be doing. But then, so the negative side of it is that it really shows you but you have to do the work to get
Yeah.
there. So then it's just like this, like it's almost like a bit of a battle. But I've got there with the meat. I haven't eaten meat, I think, in a few months now, a couple months at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go back now. So I've got there with that. So it's just
Mm.
all, working on yourself slowly. But yeah, it's the fact that, and that's actually one of my other negative things, is that it really shows you have to look at yourself and your
Mm.
patterns and your habits, and that is quite negative, because you realize that we spend our whole lives like looking away from things, and once you're kind of awakened to things, it's
Mm.
like, oh, you start spotting your habits, and you have to. There's
Mm.
no unless you're going to just go and hide under a rock, like you have to look at yourself and deal with yourself. So I found that is negative in a way, because it's kind of just exhausting, isn't it? Kind
Yeah.
of think,
Yeah.
God, ignorance was like bliss, really.
Yeah. I think so many of us, we use TV, food, alcohol, or, it could be things that you think healthy, like the gym, but to excess,
Mm-hmm.
anything but looking at
So
yourself.
yeah, whereas
Um,
this process makes
Shopping
you
on,
do that.
online shopping and all of that
Mm-hmm.
sort of stuff that gives you that quick, endorphin hit or whatever, but
Yeah,
it's not actual real happiness. Once you've eaten the food, drunk the alcohol, done the shopping,
yeah, you're filling a void.
you're feeling of, yeah. And so I
But you've
think,
got to
yeah,
get to the root of the void.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So I didn't get to that point of
Mhm.
seeing, like, like you have, but I can understand that. I can
Yeah.
understand that being the case anyway. So
But again, through everything we're doing, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the plant medicine, but, like we went to the Kundalini Awakening
yeah,
that we did, all of that, it is bringing stuff up and out of you that you
definitely.
have to deal with and
Yeah.
have to look at.
Yeah, because we know a lady, don't we, who's really spiritual, and I mean, she's like gifted,
Mhm.
and she's not into plant medicine. I mean,
No.
it's not something most people do.
Mm.
She's never felt the need to do it. But she does
Mhm.
other things. Um, so it's not, yeah. So you don't. It doesn't have to be the plant medicine.
Yeah.
That's obviously quite a,
Fast track.
extreme. Yeah. So there's other ways that you can.
Meditation is like a good starting
Yeah.
point. But in
Yeah.
all of those, that makes you look at yourself. So, because I remember when I first started meditating, I couldn't, my thoughts were all over the place, but that's almost like the point, is you're noticing that, and then it's all just about realizations and lessons, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you got
Yeah.
any other negative ones?
What did I write down? I wrote down that I just felt really disheartened. Like, you turn on the news and you see what's going on, and I just always think, like, I don't know whether it's souls, spirits, aliens. If people look, whoever they are, looking down on this world, must just think,
Mhm.
Jesus,
Yeah.
what on earth? And you just turn the news on and it's all, people being murdered, killing, and you just kind of
Yeah.
think, God, what is this all about?
Do you
What,
know what? I don't know. Have I told you this before? I don't know if I've read this to you. So I was going to say is my phone's running out of battery, but I can read this. So basically, I did my Reiki course. Have I told you this before? Maybe I have, but
I
I'll
don't know.
read it on here. Let me see if I can find it. I did my Reiki course, and one of the girls that was on the course said this exact point and said, I'm an empath, and I just can't get my head around why there is so much darkness, like you put on the news. Like, why is that? That doesn't feel that that's, who we are, and just
Mm.
can't wrap our head around. But why is that there? And we had an amazing Reiki teacher. She's a lovely lady, and she kind of, said a few things, but then the next day came back in and just left this. I mean, I haven't, I don't know how long this is, but just take 2 seconds. Do you mind if I read it? Like, because it just
I know. Go for
really
it. Yeah.
like stuck with me and made sense.
Yeah.
So the question is, how can I be happy when there is so much wrong in the world? A wonderful answer by a Buddhist monk. Man once asked an old Buddhist monk, how can I allow myself to feel peace or happiness when the world is full of suffering, injustice, pain, and chaos? The monk looked at him quietly and asked, if your house was dark, would you refuse to light a candle because the whole world is not yet bright? The man stood silent. The monk continued, the suffering of the world is real. But if you destroy your own peace completely, you can only create one more exhausted and hopeless human being. The man replied, but isn't being happy selfish when others are suffering? The monk smiled gently. A drowning person cannot save another drowning person. Peaceful people heal more than broken people consumed by despair. Then the monk pointed to a pond nearby. When the water is disturbed, it cannot reflect clearly, but when it becomes still, everything becomes visible. He looked back at the man and said, "The same is true for the mind. A restless mind reacts with fear, anger, and hopelessness. A peaceful mind responds with wisdom, compassion, and clarity." The man lowered his head and whispered, "But the world still feels heavy." The monk nodded. "Yes, that's why your peace matters even more." Then he added softly, "Do not carry the pain of the entire world in one heart. Instead, be kind where you are, help where you can, speak gently. Reduce suffering around you, even in small ways. A single candle cannot remove all the darkness, but it still changes the room it enters. In Buddhism, happiness is not ignoring suffering, it is learning to remain compassionate without letting the suffering of the world destroy your spirit completely." The monk smiled one last time and said, "Protect your inner peace. The world needs more calm hearts, not more broken minds."
Oh, that's lovely.
And that just like really stuck with me because I've always felt that like you put on the news and you just think, oh my God, like, well, now I don't put on the news.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's like with us doing our like feel good Fridays, it's like there is so much negativity. And if you focus on it, that becomes your inner world. And I think it opens you up to that. But when she came back with that, I was like, oh yeah, you don't actually need to. The more people that don't engage with that, because more hate, if you get more stressed, you put on the news and you think, God, that's awful, and you get so wrapped up in it, then you're angry and
Yeah.
stressed
And it spreads. Yeah.
and it spreads. Whereas if you think, right, no, well, that's what I always try and do when people are getting angry about whatever, and
Mm.
it's easier said than done, but like I always kind of just remember that
Mm.
and think, yeah, no, if I can just keep,
Yeah.
calm,
Keep my
makes
candle
a
lit. Yeah.
difference.
That's
Yeah,
really lovely. That's really lovely.
yeah,
I love that. Um, so yeah, no, I think it is difficult once you have that. You just think, God, what a waste of time. All this, the things that you see on the news or the things you read about, or
hmm
just generally, just people. I feel it like when even like road rage and people. I just think,
yeah,
God, give people a break. Like everyone's just trying to get from A to B, and there's someone screaming
yeah.
at. You just kind of think, God, if only
Oh,
you just chuck a ayahuasca thing down their throat and just think, "Oh."
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's true. You see a lot of people as well. I can't remember. Oh, what's his name? Is it Graham Hancock? Maybe I've got that wrong. He's like a historian, but he's sat with ayahuasca like 80 times or something. He's recently on Diary of a CEO. He's amazing. But he said he feels that it should be compulsory that all world leaders drink at least a dozen times or something, drink
yeah,
ayahuasca, because he was like,
yeah.
then they probably wouldn't even want to run for the job. But
No,
they'd
just for
see.
world peace.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
What was the last thing I was going to say is questioning sanity as well. I think because it's so uh, in your face, all of this, and again, like going on about the ayahuasca, we are going to do some. We'll talk about our actual experiences, but if you've gone for a life like I think I have, and I think you have, of a bit of being like a bit cynical, knowing there's something more, but cynical, it
yeah.
does make you think, am I literally losing my mind? Because that's what other people will tell
Think.
you.
Yeah.
But you're not. You just got to listen to
No,
listen to yourself and
yeah,
just
yeah,
stand strong in it. You're not going crazy, but I can understand why some people do have like psychosis and all of that, because you're suddenly not in the reality you were in before. You see things very differently and you question yourself and other people question you. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah, definitely. And there's some really good reels going around of that where, people are sort of saying, like, "You think we're mad, but look at what we've been conditioned to believe is normal." And they do
yeah,
sort of these photos of what we've been bombarded with over the years. We've completely come away from. I know we were talking a while back about like astrology and the moon,
yeah.
and I didn't realise we were talking about especially to do with females and how
The
like
cycles,
your menstrual cycle and it's unbelievable. But all these things now that we've been conditioned to believe. We've just completely moved away from nature and
nature.
spiritual side of things. So no, yeah, definitely agree
Because
with that.
you're not going mad if anyone else is experiencing this, because there was another thing I saw that was like, our like sixth sense and our connection to more, that's in us. That's natural. We've just been told that it's not. And in like some cultures, saying that the Amazon and stuff, they honestly think we are crazy, and we are, because of the way our life, because we don't have that connection, because that has just been through all different things, like food and just general conditioning have been taken out of us, but it
Yeah.
is real. And that's what I believe this spiritual awakening is coming back to that and
Yeah.
thinking, oh no, hold on a minute, I can trust myself, especially like for women, intuition and trusting it. And trusting you can have this, you're not going mad. But obviously it's just a whole lifetime of that conditioning. It does make you feel like that.
Yeah, definitely. You've just got to be confident in yourself, um and find groups like ours, and where you can speak to other,
Yeah.
like-minded people, because it must be
Yeah,
really
exactly.
difficult if you've literally got nobody to speak to about it. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, what did I write down? Oh, one of the this was a bit of a funny one really, but I think I felt this sudden pressure to be spiritual. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, I've now had this, I now
I've
get
got to
it.
wear a wide brimmed hat and a
Oh
little
God, I don't
poncho.
tell you what I was doing online. I was like, I was that close to ordering like full on hippie trousers. I think really cool, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
my husband would have left the house with me. But like, and I was just looking at anything to do with anything spiritual. It was like I've got to just wear, clothes that have stars and moons, and I don't know,
Yeah.
got on.
I
And
do love all of that as well,
no,
but it's
I
like
do.
we can go,
But it was,
you can still go about your normal life. Like we
you
said, we're
can,
still in an office. You can
yeah.
you just need people to talk to. And
Yeah, and I think I just thought that being spiritual means you have to, like, eat organic food. You can't swear. You've kind of lived this really, I don't know, sort of like, just really
like
gentle life.
perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of had that, and I was like, but that's just not me. I'm not perfect. I am, I do swear, and I don't eat organic food, and you
Yeah.
know, stuff like that. And I was just thinking, oh God, I'm not spiritual enough. And I think what I've learned is that for me anyway, is that it really doesn't matter what you do. Like, no one up there cares what trousers
No,
you're.
there's literally no judgment
You don't
of,
have to fit into anything. You don't have to do anything specific. It's what you are. It's what you know. Um, and you just
Mhm.
know what you didn't know before you had the spiritual awakening. You don't need to, unless you want to, but you don't need to act spiritual. You just
No.
need to do what you want to do, what makes you happy. Even if
And
I
that's
never
why I
did,
love this as well, because we're just like two normal women, still got normal jobs, got kids, whatever, still
yeah,
doing, like we're not, you know, but we can still go down this path.
yeah,
Fast forward to like a year and we'll be on here in our like
yeah,
that smoke behind us and
incense and yeah. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't do. I could have just had that one, situation that happened, and never done anything since. It doesn't
yeah,
take away from what I know. It doesn't
yeah,
make less spiritual, because So it's like sometimes I think it's easy to feel like it's not a competition, but like, oh, I've got to do this and this, and I
mm,
must get some crystals and your Palo Santo and do my house, and it's quite
hmm
overwhelming actually. You look online and there's so much that people are telling you should do, and then you
yeah.
shouldn't do this, and you should charge crystals, and you shouldn't, and it's
Oh,
actually
just do what you love as long as you're
yeah,
following. You know what I mean? Like I still love a bit of Made in Chelsea. That's like my favourite thing to do.
yeah,
Get some carbs, watch Made in Chelsea, but that doesn't
yeah.
make mean that I'm not a spiritual
No,
person, you know?
exactly, exactly. So no, I just think that was one of the I just felt this pressure, but it's just now I'm
Mhm.
just no, I'm just gonna, and I do want to do a lot of those things I just mentioned, but you don't need to. I just feel like I'll just do me. I'll do what I
Yeah.
feel comfortable doing, what I'm happy doing. I'm not gonna be pressured to be put in a box, certain spiritual thing, or
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So yeah.
No,
Any
I think
more
I
or
don't know. I think we've actually managed to keep it all reasonably in time, I think.
amazing. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that was good. I think it's good to see, but say both the positives and the negatives. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I don't have any more if you don't.
No, no. There might be more to add along the way.
Yeah. plenty to talk about.
So, no, that was great, and then, yeah, so 2 this week, and then, oh, I've lost you. Can you see me?
Hello? Yeah, I can, yeah. Right, let's leave it there before it mucks up because
No, it's
the old
me.
editing
Me and my
skills are.
finger. Yeah, fab.
Alrighty, until next
Okay.
time.
Yep.
See you
See you.
later.
Bye.
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 Bye.